and welcome one and all to the 2016 Consumer Engagement Launch. So we've got a full agenda for today, but I just wanted to run through some of the things that will be taking place. You will have an opportunity to meet the cast of our feature, as well as hear from the current stars of today, including a credited cameo featuring a very special guest. Also, you'll hear about some clear plot points regarding the consumer engagement feature and really how the 2016 campaign has the potential to break all the gross and net revenue business plan features. So I wanted to give everyone a preview of just some of the things that factored into this production. For one, we did a complete box office historical trend analysis on how the consumer engagement numbers looked over the past couple of years, as well as viewed some comparison pieces and some programs from other production companies such as Make-A-Wish and Children's Miracle Network and St. Jude to give us an idea of what other things should go into this year's feature presentation. And also in the preview, I wanted to share that we went ahead and based this year's launch a lot on the audience reviews. So things that came from the Shamrock survey and just hearing feedback throughout the past year as to what would make the most sense in putting together for next year's launch. There were test screenings, we did some private showings prior to the release, and this did result in some of the rewrites for improvement. So in moving on to the next slide, and actually we can move on to the next one after that, there's a lot of talent behind the camera, and some of them will hear from today, but each person featured here took a turn in the director's chair. So I wanted to thank the Retail Partnerships team for all of their work, but of course the feature wouldn't have been a production without a superior strategy team. So as we move on to the next slide, I'll hand it over to Erin.
Thanks, Todd. And I'd like to now introduce our 2016 strategy team. We have Adrian Cassano, Aaron Dresnick, Justin Foz, Stephanie Hartlib, Tony Hales, Jack Pippin, Aaron Randall, Amanda Spieler, and Julia Boner, who have all big part of our award-winning supporting cast. So I'd like all of you out there to take a virtual bow. Without their focus, we would not be able to bring forward these award-winning ideas that we're going to present to you today. I also wanted to take some time to acknowledge Aaron Dresnick and Amanda Spieler, who will be a big part of today's presentation as well. Next slide, please. Well, you can't have a red carpet event without a special guest. Today we have someone very special. If you have had the pleasure of meeting, you will know why she is such a big star. I'd like now to introduce Lizzie Chamberlain, MDA's Illinois State Will Good Ambassador. Lizzie is no stranger to MDA. Just in the last couple of weeks, she did a radio spot in Chicago for Jiffy Lube. She participated at the Citgo reception and golf event, and she did a fill the boot. So Lizzie, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi, I'm so glad to be able to talk with you guys today. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 13 years old, and I live with my mom, dad, and older brother. I like to sing, read, watch movies, and listen to music. I homeschool because our junior high isn't accessible, and the building is old and run down, and I have trouble breathing when I'm there. But I hope to go to public school at our high school as a freshman in a year or two. I want to start by thanking you all for working so hard to make my life better. When no one else would help me or my family, you did. Doctors would tell my family how sorry they were that I had SMA and send us on our way, telling us there was nothing else they could do, but not MDA. You have been there for me every day for the past 4 years. We don't feel alone anymore, and my team of specialists at MDA Clinic has even helped me get a little stronger this year by giving me leg braces, forearm crutches, and medicine that is helping my muscles retain fluid. I am able to stand longer and walk further than I have in years. I also love going to summer camp each year. This summer was my 4th year, and as always, it was awesome. I love camp for so many reasons, but mostly because at camp, I'm not the different one, and I get to hang out with kids who understand what it's like to have muscular dystrophy. I especially love the pranks that we pull on each other at camp. My first year at camp, we pulled a prank on this guy named Paul. He was a counselor. We put Orajel and green food dye in his toothbrush, and he always brushes his teeth in the main, what's it called? Mom, what's it called? Main hall, I guess, where you eat. And so in front of the whole camp, he had like a foam coming out of his mouth that was green, and he couldn't talk for like 2 hours. A prank that was pulled on us my 3rd year. They got little little Dixie cups, filled them with water, and put cheese balls in them, and put them all over our floor. And right in the middle of our cabin was a sign that said "Good luck" on it. Oh, that one has to be my favorite. And they do Orajel or Vaseline on the doorknobs, and just a bunch of stuff like that. I can't begin to tell you what it means to kids like me who live every day with muscle disease. Words like lonely, excluded, and isolated are a constant part of our daily lives at home, but they don't exist at MDA camp. And the cherry on top is getting my own counselor to help me do things that I've only dreamed possible. It's just amazing. Clinic and camp are just 2 of the things that I now have because of you and the sponsors that you recruit for programs such as Shamrocks, Summer Camp Pinups, and Be Their Strength. Over the past 2 years, I've had the pleasure of visiting many businesses who support MDA through these programs. I have a fun story about a business in our area that my family and I just visited on Saturday. They're in the middle of their Summer Camp Pinup campaign, and they had something like a mini carnival. They called it MDA Freeze Out. They sold baked goods and jewelry that one of the employees made, had face painting for kids, and had an area set up where you could pay $2 to $5 to pour a bucket of ice water over an employee's head. Last year, this particular store sold about $400 worth of pinups during the entire campaign. This year, they have made over $2,700 so far, and they still have 2 weeks left. If they reach their goal of $5,000, they are going to dye their hair different colors. The manager told my mom that there are 2 things that really made a difference and changed her outlook on the Summer Camp Pinup program. First thing was that before I visited her store last summer, she had never met a child directly benefiting from the program. And second, she actually visited summer camp this summer and saw for herself the impact camp makes on kids with muscular dystrophy. Now that she's seen firsthand what it means to local families, she's excited to do more and help her store meet their goals. It's been fun to see them get excited about selling pinups this year and helping MDA. Thank you guys once again for allowing me to say a few words today. I want you all to know that your hard work with MDA really means a lot to me and my family. My favorite saying is, together we can make a difference. And you guys really are making a difference in the lives of your MDA families. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. And I don't know how you could say it any better. Together we all can make a difference. And I know that just hearing your story today really gets us all motivated to continue to work so hard at what we do so we can even grow more sponsors and work with the sponsors that we have. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so now we are going to move on. It's kind of hard to top that, but we wanted to just throw out a little bit of a reminder that today everyone can be a star. Today you'll have a chance to win movie tickets for your entire team, so make sure that you are sending over pictures from your office today of showing why your district is the most red carpet worthy. And you can send all of those by the end of the day to the Consumer Engagement and MBAUSA.org email. Moving on. So now it is time for the premiere, the moment that you've all been waiting for. In order to get to our end result or our climax, we really needed to build that plot that was going to be the core of our strategies. So the retail team, along with our strategy members, have been hard at work to develop these 2016 strategies to drive us to success in Consumer Engagement 2016. So our first strategy is the cultivation of new income. We know that we have some fantastic partners out there currently with consumer engagement, but we also know that there's a huge potential for new relationships in the consumer engagement space. So our strategy, number one out the gate, is to cultivate that new income. So how are we going to do that? Well, part of our sub-strategies include that we will be setting new income expectations based on opportunities market to market. So what this means is today that you guys will be going back and you'll be looking at your team's plans and setting district goals for new income based on your market. You will then be working with your divisional directors and CEs to set district goals to drive new income for 2016 under all the consumer engagement programs. Secondly, we'll be addressing all potential consumer engagement revenue streams. If you were part of the consumer engagement training last week, you know exactly what this is. So we are broadening our opportunities to get retailers involved. It's not just pinups anymore. Third, we are also going to be setting nationwide recruitment standards, which I'll talk a little bit about in the next slide. And then we're also going to be focusing on key growth corporate opportunities as well. So we'll move on to the next slide. So I mentioned our recruitment standards. So in order to focus on cultivation of new income, we need to make sure that we're getting our return on investment. We're putting a lot of work into these consumer engagement campaigns, and so we have decided that we are going to set recruitment standards. So our recruitment standards are based on chain averages of a minimum potential of $5,000. So we put together kind of estimated costs based on chain accounts to kind of get to this 5,000 standard based on the work and the expenses that go into each particular location. So as you can see in front of you, the focus should continue to be on key industries, which are the grocery and the big box retail, which have averages of 1,000 plus per location. And then also we have restaurants, convenience stores, which are at the 500 average per location. And so these are the standards that we will recognize during blitzes and should be your basis for recruitment efforts. So if you take a look, it kind of has a little bit more of a breakdown. So we'll be going after only locations in the 5+ that are supermarkets in the big box. 10+ locations would be your convenience stores, your restaurants, your chain hair salons, your movie theaters, and then 20+ would be your pharmacies, your schools, and your banks. And move on to the next sub-strategy. Also, part of our new income growth strategy is to focus as a strategy team and national directors on expanding our footprint with the 10 core companies that we've identified. So here, it gives a little bit more in-depth analysis of 5 of those, which the next slide I'll be touching on a couple more. So we have Applebee's, which are currently raising about $282,000 within the MBA space. So as you can see, we only have 125 out of 2,000+ locations, with only 16 districts participating. And each one of these gives you a little bit more analysis of these accounts. So part of our 2016 strategy will be taking a core group to dive even further in expansion opportunities on the following nine groups. And so Catherine, you want to go to the next slide? And so this shows the other 4 additionally with the Kroger, the Popeyes, the Wendy's, and then also the Yum brands. So you're probably asking yourself, so how are we going to get this done? Move on to the next one. So we are going to roll out a team of account specialists to help us focus on our key accounts for growth. This will give us a huge opportunity to not only leverage relationships, but to collaborate as one team. Because what we know right now is that we have an impact in some part of the country on all 9 of these accounts. But we don't necessarily have a universal shared vision of what's happening within each of the particular areas by district. So how are we going to do that? We're going to establish a growth team. So part of that growth team will be our strategy members, which will be branded as our 9 account specialists, along with our 2 national directors, Sabrina Hughes and I. And so together we're going to be kind of rolling out different ways to kind of dig a little bit deeper into those relationships. So those will be coordinating calls with account specialists, we'll be researching history around the country, which we've already done, and we'll be prospecting and putting together lead generations. So the 9 account specialists will help coordinate calls with account leads around the nation. They're going to help with the prospecting efforts. They're going to ultimately help build those relationships. So I wanted to touch a little bit on what the account specialist isn't. They're not the lead recruiter. This will still be something that the field will be focusing on, is generating the new additional franchise opportunities with these accounts. They will help facilitate lead generation and compile information to help the teams, but it's still going to be a local push to bring new accounts on board. They're also going to keep everyone updated on development, where the hot spots are, where we're having some really good efforts, and ultimately they're going to be that one person that kind of holds everything in their hands in regards to the information about these accounts. So with those strategies, I am now going to toss it over to Sabrina, who's going to take you to our strategy number 2. Sabrina?
Thanks, Erin. I'm excited to share what the another one of our top performing strategies is going to be for 2016. It's increase the number of high performing multi-district accounts this year. This strategy was rolled out last year, and this year we want to expand, enhance, and improve the number of new big sponsors that we recruit and we maintain and grow for MDA. Next slide. What you'll see on the screen is talking about the home team incentive. It's been improved for 2016, and we're really excited about this. If you take a look at 2015, it'll show that we have 3 qualifying campaigns this year. And our goal for 2016 is to have 10 qualifying campaigns. A little bit of improvement that's been made, and we know that it's going to be able to increase our bottom line, is that this year the home team incentive will be committing districts who recruit new accounts. So that's any new account that has 25 locations or more, whose income totals $25,000 in net revenue, and it resides with locations in more than 1 district, so it has to be a minimum of 2 district lines to qualify for the 20% of all net revenue. So what you're going to notice it's a little bit different is this year it's $25,000, same as last year, but it's 25 locations, which has been reduced down from 50. So we're really excited about this because this is going to offer a world of opportunity, because we can grow and expand and make our mark with 25 locations and $25,000 worth of net income. Next slide. So our third strategy this year is going to be to focus on our largest stars, which are our recommit sponsors. And new this year, when doing business planning, The focus is going to be on planning for flat recommit income. If you recall, last year we worked at growing our income by dollars per location. This year we're going to go into business planning with flat income while emphasizing on individual recommit account growth. And you'll hear a little bit more about that. Also, you're going to hear about our sponsor recognition program that's going to help us focus on our recommits. And you're going to see an opportunity to build on levels of sponsor support that will help take us to the next level. So if you look at this, just like this year, we have those December incentive summer hours that are available to those teams that hit their recommit. It's going to be available again in 2016, the continuation of the summer hours. Individual opportunities, tap into those individual opportunities, which you'll see about in just a second, and early recruitment. We know that this year we encourage teams to get those recommits back on board as soon as possible before we go into business planning. And next year, you'll see right here, platinum by June the 30th, gold by August the 31st, and green by October 30th. Next slide, Catherine. Okay, to help us to grow our recommits, which is our biggest and largest stars that have the most amount of income for MDA, what we're going to do is we are going to commence on phase 2 of our sponsor recognition program for our valuable partners. As you can see right here on the screen, we are working on approval for clear deliverables for sponsors based on revenue totals. By utilizing our assets, we can provide sponsors even more benefits to help get involved. What's going to be even especially unique, we have a situation right now where there's an opportunity for a partner that we currently do business with. We're looking at another market that can absolutely grow their sponsor recognition if the other partner comes on board, and it'll grow that partnership even more so that they get more sponsor recognition. Next slide. Okay, to help us with building levels of sponsor support. Part of the sponsor recognition that we are focusing on is in addition to what we just shared with the level of involvement with MDA to make a more true partnership. Part of this is going to be underwriting of collateral costs. You know, maybe we can talk a sponsor into underwriting those costs. A perfect example of that happened is Jiffy Lube. We're all blessed to have Jiffy Lube across the country, and they underwrite the cost of what that looks like. Can you imagine what that would look like if we could get more sponsors to do that? Another great way to do that is to sponsor to cover internal incentives to help with bottom line costs. We know we all think about what that could look like, but really focusing in on having this conversation with our sponsors to see if we can take that internal incentive to the next level. Help us with the bottom line cost for sure. Another key opportunity would be for matching gifts and take sponsor donations to the next level by offering a match on the money. We've seen this in other partnerships around the country, not with MDA, but other sponsors having that, other nonprofits having that opportunity with sponsors. So maybe it could be that we are asking them to help with their foundation doing the match to what they raise, or maybe using those marketing dollars towards that. Another opportunity would be include percentage of sales to particular products or kickback to MDA on certain items. You've heard of this, whether it's going out to a restaurant and 10% of the sales going to MDA on top of the pin-up promotion that we're doing, or maybe it's a sponsor saying for every one of those 24 packs of water that they sell that we get part of that money as well. Another opportunity would be tagging advertised promotion. And what we mean by that is that companies a lot of times have these marketing dollars that they want to spend, and they do spend, but why not promote our company alongside theirs? By tagging our logo on their stuff will add brand recognition and show in their community that they're big partners with a nonprofit that will help, you know, them be more productive in the community. And to share our next strategy, I'd like to throw it to Erin Dresnick.
Hi. One of our additional strategies is that we want to keep our expenses flat and increase efficiency. Some of the sub-strategies to doing that is that we're going to create more customized materials for those that meet the criteria. The Resource Center is going to be rebranded, and materials are going to reflect the updated terminology. I know we've all had those experiences where the materials are not meeting our needs, so here these will be brand new and will be. There will be an introduction of a family engagement program. There will also be revision and expansion of standardized incentives, and you know, the sales materials will with collateral will be available in different suite formats. It will be turnkey documents and guidelines so that districts can recruit and track family involvement. It'll be really easy and really helpful for everybody. There will also be 2 incentive programs, one tied to corporate recognition and one to individual recognition. One of the deliverables we'll be rolling out is that suite program that I just mentioned for each direction. Shamrocks, Be Their Strength, Summer Camp, and the districts will be able to use those. The items will be produced to fulfill any type of campaign, whether it be a pinup program, pin pad, roundup, pay at the pump, etc., or a combination of all of those. You are able to see a sample of what this looks like. There it is. And, you know, you're going to be able to see that this is for the Be Their Strength suite. Our Marcoms department is working really hard on standardizing these now, but districts will be able to localize them as well. So all the materials will meet our needs. Now it's time for the main attraction, our national launch for 2016. Next slide. And I just want to congratulate all of our 2015 Blockbusters first before we go into 2016. This is the 7,000 plus club, are all individuals who hit that goal of $7,000 in new income, and you'll see many people on here did way more than $7,000. Congratulations to all of you. And the next slide has our 10,000 plus Blockbusters, and you'll see the top winner on our list of Blockbusters is Erin Autier, and she's actually on the call, so we're going to hear from her later about how she was able to be so successful. And now I'm going to toss it over to Amanda.
Hi, everybody, and congratulations to the 2015 Blockbusters, both in the $7,000 and the $10,000 club. I know that this list will be much longer with Goldbusters in 2016, and we're excited to get that kicked off today. Erin mentioned that I have our resident starlet on board with us today on the call, Erin Autier, who you see raised an incredible $35,000, over $35,000 in new income in 2015. And we're so excited to have her honored today as the #1 new income raiser for our organization with consumer engagement, and also to tell us a little bit about her success in 2015 and what helped her get to that number.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for having me. I'm very excited to see my name up there. It was a lot of hard work and a great effort this year for everyone. For us, I would say in my office is just persistence. Just keep going back to those big sponsors. Wendy's and Taco Bell are both sponsors that we've been pursuing for years. Wendy's had some great successes in other parts of our state in the past couple of years, and I've developed some local relationships with district managers that have always felt very positive about the relationship and have helped me kind of get in the door here more and more. Same thing kind of with Taco Bell, developing local relationships who are then broadening to bigger commitments and more stores. But there are accounts that have said no to me for years, or no, this isn't the right time, or, you know, we have another program, it's, you know, keep coming back or come back later on in the year. And so I think the persistent part of it and not giving up on shooting for the stars and also shooting for those ones that you know can bring in a lot of money are really what helped make a big difference for us in the commitment level. And then looking at the program, what we decided this year, what I decided is kind of look at it like Lowe's and pairing up my stores with families, pairing up my stores and my district managers with services, and really relating everything back to that. So shoot for the stars, don't give up, and then connect them to the mission. Those are kind of the key points for our success this year.
Thank you so much, Erin. Persistence is definitely something that it resonates with all of the district offices, and congratulations again for being #1 in the company. I'm certain that you have lots of good things up your sleeve for 2016 as well. But we definitely want to recognize our Film of the Year stars, and that district office is our St. Louis office, which if you were able to kind of look at the ranking of our top individuals in the company, there were multiple members of this team on that list. And this team in 2015 added 2 of those chains that we saw earlier in the presentation, Wendy's and Jack in the Box, that really helped them get almost $58,000 in new income and certainly helped them achieve their 2015 business plan. So here to talk to us today from a golf tournament, actually, so thank you again, Catherine, for being on board, is Catherine Yarborough, the ED in St. Louis.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're out here at the golf tournament, so I appreciate you giving me the ability to phone in and talk about our successes this year. We were really excited about our Shamrock program. And the wins for us were that we had multiple team members on the New Income Development Board, as you've seen. We added 2 really great chains, Wendy's with 39 locations and Jack in the Box with 68 locations. And these 2 chains that was stated earlier, these were just, we were very persistent with them. We've been going after them for years, identifying who the decision makers were, and then just staying persistent, and it really paid off for us this year. As you mentioned, our new income was $58,000. And we hit our overall Shamrock business plan, which was over $300,000, and that was also including the new growth goal for every member that was on that team. So every member hit their $7,000 mark. The obstacles that we had going into the Shamrock program this year was we had a lot of new staff due to some turnover in several of our positions that happened right before the Shamrock program kicked off. And we lost some major recommit income from our White Castles. That was about $35,000 in new income, and then our Popeyes chain was about $16,000 in lost income. So identifying those early and knowing that we really needed to make up a huge chunk of change really helped push staff to making sure that they were all hitting their income goals. So a little bit of secret to our success is we just followed the best practices. We're always on these conference calls. We're always taking things from other districts and other team members as to what their wins are, and we're using them ourselves. We don't want to recreate the wheel. So our newer staff didn't know any other way except the best practices of the Shamrock and Consumer Engagement Program. We always start with a prospect list, and we kick off the program at about the same time every year. So starting in August and September, we're getting those prospect lists together. We're all sitting down and communicating who's going after who, so there's no cross lines of miscommunication. And then we compile a list of people that have, said no to us in the past. And, we've had successes with coming back the next year and getting them back on board. And a good example is the Bob Evans. They said no last year, but now they're back on board this year for us. So we do the time block for our call-outs. We know everybody's busy with Muscle Walk starting even earlier this year and all of our other core programs that are transitioning into year-round programs. You need to make time to call your potential prospects. So setting aside the 1 to 2 hours, a day for those call blocks during those certain weeks really pays off. Prepare and practice for the meeting and use the resources online to make your pitch. So once again, don't recreate the wheel. The resources that you have available on Merlin are your best resources to use, and make sure you're practicing for your meetings so you know that your elevator speech. And finally, our growth strategy for 2016 is we know and believe there's still room to grow our Shamrock program. We lost a lot of major accounts last year that may come back on board this year. We're not going to forget about those, and we're recreating those prospect lists, and we've got to get our team to buy in that we can hit our new income goal. We're going to grow the program through jailbird acquisition, so using one program to help another. So if we're meeting people at our lockups that are in that restaurant or in that retail industry, the first thing that we should be thinking about is consumer engagement, because those are the easiest programs for them to pitch in and start developing income early. We've already identified, developed, and assigned out our prospect list for 2016. So looking at your consumer reports, knowing who you had on board last year, knowing who you've lost, and recreating a brand new prospect list. And then just rally your team. Get everybody excited about this program. It's a very fun program. We're excited about all the new changes this year and are really looking forward to hitting our business plan once again in 2016.
Catherine, thanks so much. I know you're taking time out from a golf tournament to call in and talk about this very important measure of success for you all. So we certainly appreciate it, and good luck on the golf tournament.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Catherine, yeah, thanks so much. So since Catherine shared with us the secrets to success, we want to continue on recognizing some success for 2015. Congratulations to the top 10 consumer engagement campaigns based on current projections, and that is Arizona, Charlotte, Dallas, Atlanta, Houston, St. Louis, Oregon, Iowa, Minnesota, and Greater Michigan. Congratulations to all of you for leading our organization for 2015. I still know that there's several consumer engagement campaigns still happening for the remainder of 2015, so lots of time to add some names to this list. So keep working those programs and certainly getting ready for 2016. Speaking of 2016, we're ready for our lights, camera, and action, Catherine. Thank you. So we definitely want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up to utilize our district time that we have today for this launch. We want to make sure that it's time well spent and that you're creating plans to move your consumer engagement program forward. So a good plan and follow through are really the keys to success. So we just want to reiterate a couple of reminders from today's launch to be sure you're setting yourself up in the best way. Make sure that the mobile enterprise report is updated. I know that the district leads were likely working on this, but if you haven't already done it, please take some time. Make sure you have an accurate reflection of 2015. Make sure you've gone into FMS and really made sure that those numbers are equaling what they're showing on your mobile enterprise report. An accurate tracker will really provide a snapshot of opportunities and where key meetings are across the country and who's securing those. So make sure that you have set yourself up in the best way with that. We want you to create a visual of potential and new money in your district. Who is at the top of your hit list? Make sure you're getting that prospect list going. If that's something that you need to put on a flip chart on the wall, or your whiteboard, or whatever that looks like, make sure you're creating a visual of what that new money potential is. Certainly today, we're asking for you to set your district new income goals, and we definitely want for you to be sharing that with your divisional directors so that you guys can start business planning for consumer engagement. Make sure you're remembering the strategies that we talked about and how you can best utilize that to achieve your new income goals, as well as make sure that our recommit income is right back where it should be, and that we're finding success within our recommit accounts as well. Review the 2015 account analysis forms that we ask for everyone to complete, and make sure that you're recognizing growth opportunities for your recommit sponsors. I mentioned before, that's certainly a big area of opportunity for all of us to kind of right size and make sure that our recommit partners are doing what they're capable of, what we know that they're capable of, and certainly where we've seen best years yet, where can we continue to grow that program, thinking of some of the ways that we've talked about in our consumer engagement training as well as our launch today. So we're kind of ready to make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. We want to make sure that 2016 is the highest grossing feature ever for MDA, and here you have Avatar, which I was surprised to know, which many of you may not be. Avatar is the highest grossing film of all time, and so we definitely want to have our Avatar year in 2016, and by doing that, we're going to need to set ourselves up for success starting now. So good luck on your district launches, and make sure that you're sharing all of the great information that you're doing with your subdivision and your DDs and your CEs. And please don't forget to send in your photos. The contest ends today for your consumer engagement photos, and I've seen a couple, but we want to make sure we see everybody's photo of the fun that they're having today in their district launch. I think that wraps us up unless the consumer engagement team has anything to add.
Thank you, Amanda. I think that we're good to go. So everyone have a great district kickoff. We can't wait to hear all the great results that come out of today. So have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.